Alright, boys and girls, we are starting on the dash frame here, and last one we videoed got the dash glassed on there, and this is the dash support bar. Now they've got a different style now, so this only applies to the people that have this style. Now they have one with a slip joint in here, from my understanding, which is much better. But anyways, this was welded up there and here, but it was like welded like this, and you couldn't get it to get under the dash to put the sides in. Alright, like you get it slightly in there, but it wouldn't line up at all. So I cut the center section out because I knew that needed to be rotated, and then I lined it up, the bolt holes with the seams. This one's a little off, but whatever, you know, we're not building something perfect. I could probably move this if I have to. There is a little space in that I can move it. Probably have to grind a little on the dash there. Did have to make a little relief cut. I'm not happy I had to do that, but it is what it is. You know. Anyway, I'm surprised that this angle of this bar is that far off. Look at that. I mean, that's probably every bit of 4 inches out of whack, which explains why this thing would not fit in there. So I'm going to have to cut it again somewhere else. Maybe just do a pie cut, I don't know, and then bring that up. Or just cut it back here and start over, which would probably be the smarter thing to do. So that we can weld this all in there correctly and get the angles right. From my understanding, that little ledge is supposed to sit on the bottom of the dash there, I believe. And it's supposed to have its spacing forward. So from my understanding, it will go in there like so, with the space going forward, so you can get the hardware on the back. Because if you flip it the other way like this, it will be flush against the dash, and then you can't put the hardware on there and the nuts and bolts to hold the support on for the steering column. So anyways, boys and girls, I'm going to have to take this back apart, cut that pipe, and we'll get back to it. Alright, so here's what we've done. We cut the bar off over there. We cut the bar off in the center. I should have probably left that on and just cut it at the ends, the more I think about it. But we cut it off here, we cut it off there, so I can move this around. And now what we're done is I've got the sides bolted in to where I want them. There's a little gap between here and the body, and that's fine. I'll probably just put a washer there. You know, it's just some sort of rubber or something like that anyways. But got these mounted in, and that bar was going down to the dash here, which was crazy. So I had to cut it. I got it tack welded. I got it taped holding up here. I put the dash in the buggy, and then what I did was I put this at the angle I think the steering column is going to come through. I don't know 100%, but it's got some adjustability and stuff, so I put it to where I wanted it, and I marked on a piece of tape here so that I could have an angle. So when I put this in there, this is going to catch the bottom of the dash, and when you make it angle this way more, the marks will be over here more. If it went back that way more, the marks will be more this way. So I lined it up, taped it in place, and now you can see I got to make some pieces of metal just drop it down. I'm not going crazy on this. Nobody's ever going to see it. It only supports the steering column and just a little bit of the dash, so there's not like a million pounds on it. So, and the dash is kind of supported by the rest of the hood. So anyways, make some little plate tabs, tack weld them on there, remove this hopefully without breaking it, and then weld it completely. Alright, boys and girls, so I think we've solved the dash frame support fitment issue. So what I had to do here is I had to drop it down. You know, we get this, from my understanding, this part of the bracket fits on the dash there. And then I had to drop it down again, and I also had to cut and re-weld that over there. It just looks like they should have had this up here to me, like it should have been more right there along that part of the dash frame, and it was welded at, I mean, it's kind of all funky angles over there, but it was just welded at a little different angle. But we're going to see if that works. I got these spaced out so that the glass can slide down, and we can try a test fitment. Hopefully we haven't destroyed or scratched anything that doesn't need to be destroyed or scratched. So let's try it out. Alright, so dash is in there. Turn the flashlight on. Sorry, I don't know why my phone's blinking, but it is. But anyways, the bracket in there looks about the right angle. There is a gap here between the body and the pieces, so I'm going to put some sort of nylon washer there so it doesn't mar up the body. And the next thing is the glass. I want to try and stick the glass up there. The side with the rib here goes out if you're going to ever plan to use a top, because the top curls under the front of the windshield. So, you know, if you want a smooth look, you're not going to ever run a top. You flip it around and have the groove on the back side. If you plan on running one of those Beanie tops or a fiberglass top, you should have the groove on the front side, from my understanding. So I got these spaced out a little bit. Alright, I know they'll probably need to jiggle in and all that stuff, but I just want to try and set the window on there and see how it covers up this. I have the gasket out. Not going to put that in right now, because that's going to need to be heated up in the sun to be able to lay flat. And this is not the final installation. There's going to be 3 or 4 more times I've got that on there so far with no bad scratches or anything that I can see. I followed you would think there would be a distance, there would be angle or something, but I have not found anything. It's basically preference and whatever you can find for the angle of the front windshield. What I did find mostly was the early 60s ones with the 2-piece dash. They basically, everybody mounted the windshield in between the two where they joined together. Alright, so that's what I took it off as. I figured I would follow in that same tradition, and it's got probably a tad more angle laying back than I'd want, but I think it will do. It's not like a raked back angle, but it is a little farther back than I kind of like. And I even pushed it a little forward at the top bolts, but it is what it is. You know, it should still grab the roof. Like I say, I got the groove on the outside here. Smooth sorted on the inside. Once again, if you're running a top or not, it depends if you're going to need to do that. It is laminated safety glass. It actually fit really well. I kept the brackets out pretty far. There's still going to be a gap there. We'll have to tighten this all in later. We're just checking to see if it fits. So got that on there. And that was not as bad as I was expecting it to be. I thought a lot more struggle. It slid in there pretty well. Now we can start figuring out our steering wheel. Alright. And then get the hood to mount solidly. So I want to put whatever fasteners I am going to put on the side, the dash frame, everything. The hood needs to be solid where it's going to be before I cut the hole in the dash. You know, that's the one that's going to, I don't know, neither of them probably going to show up that bad, but you know, definitely that one there on the bottom I think would show up more than the dash hole because of the steering column, the steering wheel's there. But anyways, boys and girls, windshield is on. We didn't scratch anything. It looks like my rubber will cover up any bit of the joint. There's a few little places I'm going to have to scrape some epoxy off that got out. But, you know, that's life. Everything's imperfect. You know, that was actually going to be my original name for this thing, was Imperfection. Because, you know, even though I want it perfect, it's going to be imperfect. But don't worry, boys and girls. It will look nice at the end. So, get out there, get your projects done. This is probably going to be the last of this video for the dash frame and the modifications I had to do to that. Like I say, it's from what I've been reading, this is a fluke. The new ones are different. They have a slip joint in it. You still have to bend and modify a little bit because everybody's going to glass their dash on different. But that far out of whackness right there, I think, was just a fluke. I bought this right before Bruce's passing, and the metalwork stuff was farmed out to different people, and it probably just got, you know, a new guy on a Monday. Who knows? You know, it's no big deal. Luckily, I was, you know, able to weld something up. There are other dash frames out there, but I wanted to use what I bought, and you know, that little modification looks like it will work well. Next thing we're going to do after that is we're probably going to find out how to drill holes for our wiper motor, because I want wipers.